Walking through the city, lights all aglow. Everybody's got a story to show. Wheels keep spinning, streets overflow. Hustle never stops, we're in the flow. Skylines high like our dreams in the air. Concrete jungle, we got flair. Rhythm of the night, we don't care. Underneath the stars, we breathe rare. In this urban jungle, we're alive. Heartbeats echo as we strive. Dreams collide where the streets survive. Together we'll thrive, side by side. Echoes of the past linger near. Future calls, we face it with no fear. Every corner tells a tale so clear. In the city we chase what we hold dear. Shadows and whispers blend in the night. City's pulse beats with all its might. Lost in the chaos but it feels right. We rise above, reach new heights. In this urban jungle we're alive. Heartbeats echo as we strive. Dreams collide where the streets survive. Together we'll thrive, side by side. Urban jungle, we're alive. Heartbeats echo as we strive. Dreams collide where the streets survive. Together we'll thrive, side by side. In this urban jungle, we're alive. Heartbeats echo as we strive. Dreams collide where the streets survive. Together we'll thrive, side by side. Heartbeats echo as we strive. Dreams collide where the streets survive. Together we'll thrive, side by side. Shadows and whispers blend in the night. City's pulse beats with all its might. Lost in the chaos but it feels right. We rise above, reach new height. In this urban jungle we're alive. Heartbeats echo as we strive. Dreams collide where the streets survive. Together we'll thrive, side by side. Walking through the city, lights all aglow. Everybody's got a story to show. Wheels keep spinning, streets overflow. Hustle never stops, we're in the flow. Skylines high like our dreams in the air. Concrete jungle, we got flair. Rhythm of the night, we don't care. Underneath the stars, we breathe rare. In this urban jungle, we're alive. Heartbeats echo as we strive. Dreams collide where the streets survive. Together we'll thrive, side by side. Echoes of the past linger near. Future calls, we face it with no fear. Every corner tells a tale so clear. In the city we chase what we hold dear. Shadows and whispers blend in the night. Walking through the city, lights all aglow. Everybody's got a story to show. Wheels keep spinning, streets overflow. Hustle never stops, we're in the flow. Skylines high like our dreams in the air. Concrete jungle, we got flair. Rhythm of the night, we don't care. Underneath the stars, we breathe rare. In this urban jungle, we're alive. Heartbeats echo as we strive. Dreams collide where the streets survive. Together we'll thrive, side by side. Echoes of the past linger near. Future calls, we face it with no fear. Every corner tells a tale so clear. In the city we chase what we hold dear. Shadows and whispers blend in the night. City's pulse beats with all its might. Lost in the chaos but it feels right. We rise above, reach new heights. In this urban jungle we're alive. Heartbeats echo as we strive. Dreams collide where the streets survive. Together we'll thrive, side by side. Urban jungle, we're alive. Heartbeats echo as we strive. Dreams collide where the streets survive. Together we'll thrive, side by side. In this urban jungle, we're alive. Heartbeats echo as we strive. Dreams collide where the streets survive. Together we'll thrive, side by side. Heartbeats echo as we strive. Dreams collide where the streets survive. Together we'll thrive, side by side. Shadows and whispers blend in the night. City's pulse beats with all its might. Lost in the chaos, but it feels right. We rise above, reach new height. In this urban jungle, we're alive. Heartbeats echo as we strive. Dreams collide where the streets survive. Together we'll thrive, side by side. Walking through the city, lights all aglow. Everybody's got a story to show. Wheels keep spinning, streets overflow. Hustle never stops, we're in the flow. Skylines high like our dreams in the air. Concrete jungle, we got flair. Rhythm of the night, we don't care. Underneath the stars, we breathe rare. In this urban jungle, we're alive. Heartbeats echo as we strive. Dreams collide where the streets survive. Together we'll thrive, side by side. Echoes of the past linger near. Future calls, we face it with no fear. Every corner tells a tale so clear. In the city we chase what we hold dear. Shadows and whispers blend in the night. Walking through the city, lights all aglow. Everybody's got a story to show. Wheels keep spinning, streets overflow. Hustle never stops, we're in the flow. Skylines high like our dreams in the air. Concrete jungle, we got flair. Rhythm of the night, we don't care. Underneath the stars, we breathe rare. In this urban jungle, we're alive. Heartbeats echo as we strive. Dreams collide where the streets survive. Together we'll thrive, side by side. Echoes of the past linger near. Future calls, we face it with no fear. Every corner tells a tale so clear. In the city we chase what we hold dear. Shadows and whispers blend in the night. City's pulse beats with all its might. Lost in the chaos but it feels right. We rise above, reach new heights. In this urban jungle we're alive. Heartbeats echo as we strive. Dreams collide where the streets survive. Together we'll thrive, side by side. Urban jungle, we're alive. Heartbeats echo as we strive. Dreams collide where the streets survive. Together we'll thrive, side by side. In this urban jungle, we're alive. Heartbeats echo as we strive. Dreams collide where the streets survive. Together we'll thrive, side by side. Heartbeats echo as we strive. Dreams collide where the streets survive. Together we'll thrive, side by side. Shadows and whispers blend in the night. City's pulse beats with all its might. Lost in the chaos, but it feels right. We rise above, reach new height. In this urban jungle, we're alive. Heartbeats echo as we strive. Dreams collide where the streets survive. Together we'll thrive, side by side. Walking through the city, lights all aglow. Everybody's got a story to show. Wheels keep spinning, streets overflow. Hustle never stops, we're in the flow. Skylines high like our dreams in the air. Concrete jungle, we got flair. Rhythm of the night, we don't care. Underneath the stars, we breathe rare. In this urban jungle, we're alive. Heartbeats echo as we strive. Dreams collide where the streets survive. Together we'll thrive, side by side. Echoes of the past linger near. Future calls, we face it with no fear. Every corner tells a tale so clear. In the city we chase what we hold dear. Shadows and whispers blend in the night.
Don't tell me it's like a
Walking through the city, lights all aglow. Everybody's got a story to show. Wheels keep spinning, streets overflow. Hustle never stops, we're in the flow. Skylines high like our dreams in the air. Concrete jungle, we got flair. Rhythm of the night, we don't care. Underneath the stars, we breathe rare. In this urban jungle, we're alive. Heartbeats echo as we strive. Dreams collide where the streets survive. Together we'll thrive, side by side. Echoes of the past linger near. Future calls, we face it with no fear. Every corner tells a tale so clear. In the city we chase what we hold dear. Shadows and whispers blend in the night. City's pulse beats with all its might. Lost in the chaos but it feels right. We rise above, reach new heights. In this urban jungle we're alive. Heartbeats echo as we strive. Dreams collide where the streets survive. Together we'll thrive, side by side. Urban jungle, we're alive. Heartbeats echo as we strive. Dreams collide where the streets survive. Together we'll thrive, side by side. In this urban jungle, we're alive. Heartbeats. Walking through the city, lights all aglow. Everybody's got a story to show. Wheels keep spinning, streets overflow. Hustle never stops, we're in the flow. Skylines high like our dreams in the air. Concrete jungle, we got flair. Rhythm of the night, we don't care. Underneath the stars, we breathe rare. In this urban jungle, we're alive. Heartbeats echo as we strive. Dreams collide where the streets survive. Together we'll thrive, side by side. Echoes of the past linger near. Future calls, we face it with no fear. Every corner.
No, yeah, if you're working on free, no wonder. Right, he's getting pissed off of us not being ready.
Okay.
Kia tau, brother. Kia tau, bro.
There you go. Button, and a defer.
Button.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you're subscribed to our Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok, News Guide, the Order Paper Podcast. YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok, News Guide, the Order Paper Podcast. Podcast. On Wednesday, 12th March, after 2 hours of debate in New Zealand, Parliament votes 63 to 60 to make it a criminal offense to steal wages from your...
live.
E te iwi tēnā koutou, nau mai haere mai ki au, ki te whare wānanga Waikato, ki Tauranga tēnei e tū nei, ki tō tātou whare ki Te Manawaroa. E mihi nei e tangi nei ki a koutou, koutou e whakarongo pikari mai nā, ki te wā kāinga ki o koutou whare. Akene pēr koutou kai runga i o koutou motuka e trai wāna ki te whare. Kai te pai, whakarongo pikari mai, ti tiro mai rā, ki enei whakahaere i tēnei pō. Kua hau tēnei tā koutou mō kai anairo eru era e mihi nei ki a koutou. I wāhi ki au, paku mihi noa, he tuku i tā tātou whakarite mo tēnei pō, ka tuku ki taku rangatira māna no nā whakahaere. Nā reira kai te iwi, kai nā ihi, kai nā wihi, kai nā tapu o tō tātou moana, o tirā, kai nā rohe whakarongo pikari mai nei ki tā tātou mahi tēnei pō, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou. Tēnā koutou. Ka tira, ke taupua iho, te manaakitanga a te māhinaro kei rungi a tātou. Te wairua whakamārire a kui mā koromā kia taupua iho ki runga ki tēnā ki tēnō tātou pōkai kaha nei. Kia tau anō te mauri ki runga i a tātou, kia tau anō te rangi māri e rungi e nei whakahaere. Tūturu e rongo whakamaua kia tīnā. Tīnā, hui e, tai ki e. Tēnā rā koutou, nairo era tēnei. One of the crew here, bringing this broadcast to you. I'm now going to hand over to my rangatira Sam Stells. Tēnā koe te ho, tēnā koe.
Kia ora. And tonight, these candidates will be vying to become the next councillor of the Te Awanui Māori Ward. But with every election, there's one thing stepping in their way, and that's your vote. Okay, and welcome to tonight's It's in the Ballot show here, live from the great city of Tauranga. How was everyone this evening? So we've got a good sign on there. Okay, sorry, my phone has decided it wants to do stupid things at the moment, and I like it, which is great timing when it does things, because it's finger pressing a button that it shouldn't be. Okay, so we've got these 5 candidates here who are vying for your first preference votes. So let's find out which candidate gets to kick off first, and we've got Hemi.
Oh, kia ora.
You got 1 minute on for your opening statements.
Ka tēnā tātou mihi kawana ki te tuakana, tēnei te mihi mahana ki a koe nairo. Ina manei no, tēnā koutou kātō. Ko Hemi Wallace tēnā hau, no konei, no Tauranga moana. No Ngāti whakaue hoki, tēnā te mihi ki a koutou kātō. I'm from here. My statement is basically starting with ko tai mai te wā. The time has come for somebody like me to put my hand up and to make a difference and a positive impact for Tauranga moana. My record, my track record, my credibility will show that I have done many things, both in the moana and nationally and locally, to make a difference and a positive impact. So I stand on the credibility of the capability that I can bring to the table, and I'm really excited tonight to tell you a little bit more about that. I've been mentored by some of the best in Tauranga moana, particularly Uncle Ki and Auntie Maria, Auntie Ngā Roimata, and tonight I wear my poppy, proudly being mentored by the one and only Tā Bomb Gillies, who I carry proudly. Those are the people that have helped to get me where I am today and helped me build the capability, the credibility, and importantly, the values that we must always take our people on the waka as we go on the journey. Tēnā tātou katoa.
Thank you for that. Next up, Swarry.
Kia ora tātou, te lofa lava hoki, mauri ora ki te whare, he uri tēnei no konei. as well as the beautiful islands of Samoa on my mother's side. I am a research and evaluation consultant, and I write technical reports about how well things work, for whom and under what conditions. My campaign is Me Aro Koe Ki Te Ha o Hine Ahuhone, which is built on my buzz is about supporting wahine Māori into governance. I think on balance we've got leadership covered. I know we've got leadership covered in our marae spaces, in our iwi interests, but we don't have them in the governance space. So I stand in all elections, Tauranga City Council and Western Bay, because that's my kaupapa, wahine into governance. Kia ora.
Thank you for that. Next up, Angie.
Tēnā rā koutou katoa, ko o te maunga, ko Tauranga te moana, ko ngā te rangi te iwi, ko ngā te iwi, ngā tūkairangi o Guhapu, ko ngā tātua te waka, ko honga tora me maunga tapu me marae, ko no matapi tōku kāinga i naina. I'm here and I'm standing again. I stood in the first election in July 2024 with the intention of bringing more of Māori representation to the governance table. I was not successful in doing that, but I certainly was successful in gaining confidence and knowledge and understanding of the system of campaign. But more than that, I have a lot to offer. I'm currently working for council. I work in the engagement space for the Māori strategic team, and I've learned a lot about our water services. So I've been doing that now for nearly 18 months. So I'm someone that's on the ground in the spaces. I have built relationships and I continue to do that. And the reason I have that work is because that is what my expertise is. I've done a number of governance roles across education, across health, and certainly across our ahu whenua trusts and incorporations. I work on the ground in my marae, and all my marae, I'm on my hapu trusts. I invest all that I can into contributing what I have to offer to Tauranga Moana as mana whenua, but also recognising that we're not alone in this beautiful city of ours. We share this with many other Māori who have come to make this their home, and I interact with everyone in the course of my lifetime through sports, through education. So really what I'm saying is that I learned a lot the first time around. That hasn't deterred me. I'm ready to stand and give it all I have. I've got a lot to offer in terms of governance, Māori, and being a wahine Māori, and I wish to bring it tonight and hopefully expand on all of those experiences for you. Kia ora.
Thank you for that. Next up, David. You managed to unplug the microphone while you're at it.
Yeah, whatever.
Kia ora tātou te whānau, ko David Rātima Trust, ahau, ko Maua o Te Maunga, ko Nai Te Rangi, ko Nai Te Rangi Nui, ko Nai Te Pūkena, ahau. I'm standing here today in support, I've got to be honest, of these four. Well, someone's got to stand up for Te Māori, and I'm just glad to be here, guys. But I've got to be honest, my full support is with the other four here. They're more, well, they've got more of a governance role than I have. But what I have got, I've spent the last 15 years behind the scene taking on government. My speciality was law. For me, that's where it counts. We can sit around and have cordial all we like, but at the end of the day, for me, I believe in the law to back me up, no matter what table I sit at, because that's what we're bounded by statute. Kia ora tātou whānau.
Ngā mihi nei.
Kia ora.
Thank you for that. And last up, George, your opening statement.
Tēnā koutou katoa, e aku rangatira, mai ngā kuri a whārei ki Tihirau, mai maketu ki Tongariro, ko George Ngātai tōku ingoa, Ngāti Awa, Ngāti Maniapoto, Ngāti Mākino. Kei te mihi atu nei ki a koutou e whakapāho atu nei ki a koutou. Hey, kia ora, George Ngātai. I'm pleased to actually be here to be one of the 5 candidates that are standing for Te Awanui by-election, obviously here at Tauranga City Council. I have got a wee bit of experience in terms of local government, working for Auckland City and North Shore City Council, and saw the challenges that many Māori actually have in terms of engaging at a governance level. This seat has actually given us the opportunity to participate and be voted in by Māori, for Māori, to represent Māori views on Tauranga City Council. My experience at the moment is as the head of the Whānau Community Clinic. That's a company that both my wife and I established from scratch, setting up 1 general practice in Auckland and stretching now to 8 general practices from Kaio up into Taitokoro all the way down to Te Waiponamu. So health and well-being's really been key to me, giving back to our people affordable and accessible health, which I believe is something that this council can actually learn from, making access to our people within the Tauranga City Council and also actually engaging with them on a regular basis. I've got some priorities that personally I would like to actually bring to the table, and that's actually community wellbeing and making sure that our people are well serviced within Tauranga. I'd also like to actually see better engagement, not only with Māori, but with obviously the tangata whenua here, because they're key to enable us to be accountable for our relationships between tangata tiriti and tangata whenua. So I look forward to meeting you over the next few weeks. Remember, the election is taking place, by-election is taking place now, and over the next 4 weeks, you get to choose one of us to actually represent your views on the Tauranga City Council. Look forward to that. I'm George Ngātai. Look forward to your number 1 vote.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, so let's get up to the fun part here where we get to get the box questions. Now, if you probably remember from the previous It's in the Ballot season we did about 9 months ago, each candidate, we go one by one, they pick up the boxes. Now, each candidate has 2 button cards. If someone else picks a box and you want to answer that question, you use your button card and you raise your button card so I sit there and know exactly where it is. And if you get a curly question you don't want to answer, you can defer it to one of your fellow candidates. Fingers crossed we don't have that particular card getting used, otherwise some people might sit there and do it. So Nairo, you get to have the fun part here. Thank you for letting us use your facilities here. It's quite nice.
Very nice.
They've got comfy seats. I'd probably say one of the comfiest ones we've been at. So before we get to the questions, who are you to our viewers, particularly those who are not from Tauranga, so we can sit there and find out, because you know, some of us might want to meet you afterwards.
Tēnā no tātou, Nairo Iruira, grew up here in Tauranga, here from Tauranga on my father's side, and my mother is from further down the coast in Whakataane. Mihi ana kia koutou.
Can you hold your mic up a bit?
Tino mihi ana kia koutou. Koutou i whakaro nui ki nei whakaro tātou. Kia kahara kia koutou. Local boy, do a bit of this and that. No, I don't answer questions after the show. Kia ora.
Okay, so let's kick up with the first question. George, you get to pick the first box number. What box number would you like?
Oh,
We've got up to 1 to 28.
Look, I'll pick number 5. Oh.
And what card number have we got?
Card number I.
I. So I for India.
Question, will you be an advocate for our LGBTQIA+ community?
Look, I think that's an adequate question to ask, because lots of people would probably want to ask me that question. I suppose for me, the LGBT community is just like women, it's just like Māori, it's just like disabled. They need to actually have a representative that views and voices their view on the Tauranga City Council. If and when that question is asked of me, I would do my best as a representative to view and voice the concerns that the community and the LGBT or others would actually have me present to the Tauranga City Council. So would I be an advocate? Would I be a voice? I will have to be. Everyone will have to be. And so therefore the answer would be yes.
Thanks for that. Okay, next, was it up is David. What box number?
Number 3.
So for those at home, it's box number 3.
Okay, box number 3, card question Z. Z for zebra. Aotearoa, New Zealand has a population represented by over 1,500 ethnicities, cultures and social identities. Studies have shown that diverse and inclusive societies both increase well-being and economic growth. How would you actively improve Tauranga Moana's sense and celebration of its diverse society?
Well, I believe you have to stand up.
Whatever you would like to do.
I believe we've got a hub down at the 17th Ave Historic Village Museum. First place of contact for me would be actually down there to go and see the people that have established, so I could get a more of an understanding of what they want and what they need, and then I'd be able to say something. Yeah. I've got to be honest, but that's the first thing, looking into cultural diversities, because at the end of the day, regardless of who or what they are, it still comes down to under cultural understandings, regardless of who they are, whether they're gay or female. The most important to me is letting them speak and seeing what they say. Okay, kia ora.
Okay, next up, Angie, what box number? So number 11.
Card number L. What strategies will you push to address the specific issues facing Māori in Tauranga Moana?
Kia ora for that. In my view, some of the key specific issues for Tauranga Moana Māori is housing, and then quickly followed by, the cost of living and everything that goes with that. So strategies that I will definitely focus on in that regard are ways to increase the opportunity for housing for Māori. In my view, some of those answers lie in enabling papakainga development to happen, in particular in spaces where we don't have the infrastructure already. So that would be my key strategy focus. Kia ora.
Can I button?
Yeah,
as well?
yep, use your button card. Let's kick it in. Yep, that's good enough for me.
I think that the thing for us is really looking at, as was said, the affordable housing. But better healthcare is something, whilst it's not a council responsibility, I think actually having accessible health services and appropriate health services for our people is really key. Economic opportunities for not only Tauranga, but especially for Māori business, because that there is something that grows our local economy. In terms of that, our local economy is really key for me and us to actually be able to support. The environment will probably be a priority for a lot of our people within, because being Māori, the whenua is really key to us, the moana is really key to us, and this has got to be certainly supported and engaged with by Māori. Māori business is something we've seen grow within Aotearoa's economy, but it also can actually be something that we can support for Tauranga as well. So that's it.
Okay. Hemi, what box number?
The appropriate number 28. Sorry, Nairo, it's down the bottom right. 28 for the battalion.
Yes, it's
right down the bottom.
Okay, card number K. How do you plan to foster meaningful partnerships between Tauranga City Council and Hapu?
Yeah, great partai. I think what I would do first and foremost is build on the relationships that currently exist. Te Rangapu is already in existence, that's got relationships happening, and then there's specific MOUs with most of the hapu that actually exist anyway. So whoever comes in on this Te Awanui Ward seat, remembering it's a all Māori seat, really needs to find solutions and strategies and resources to power it up. I live in Matapihi, and there's the Matapihi land use plan that pretty much dovetailing into what Anne says, getting more houses along, but it's not powered up. Some of that lies back with our own hapu, powering up their resources, but predominantly a lot of it lies with TCC. So you're sitting at the table as a voice of 1 of 10, but talking to your mates, partners around the table, saying we need to provide more resource, more focus, more strategy to really enable those things to happen alongside the hapu. Kia ora.
Okay, thanks for that. Soare, what box number?
2.
And so that's the second vote that people put down if they choose someone else for a first preference. And remember, your number 2s are just as important as your number 1 votes.
Card AB.
Oh.
What do you see as the main difference between Māori landowners and hapu in terms of their relationship with Tauranga City Council?
I think the access point to engaging with those entities and those groups need to be finessed out so that we know that the mechanism for engaging with those owners is done really, really well. So looking at high quality engagement of the existing groups that they have around Tauranga, I think that's really important. And always, like Hemi said, capitalising and extending what we've got to fold in the leadership of those entities.
Okay, gee, you're quick on doing questions. Oh, we got a button from Angie. Yeah, I like that. Throw it in front of you so that we can see who's done the buttons.
So I'd just like to add to that. 1 minute, I don't know, I lost my question. From my perspective, the main difference between a Māori landowner and the hapu is that hapu are completely responsible to their members and to take back to our people, you know, the things that are important about the land of the hapu. Whereas the Māori landowner is completely responsible to their owners. And so there is just a different level of responsibility and therefore a different type of relationship is needed with TCC. But ultimately, in my view, it's about helping TCC to understand that difference and then to find ways to better support both the Māori landowners as well as the hapu in terms of land. Kia ora.
And we've got another button from Hemi.
I better button on this one because let me tell you that I was previously in a previous career, worked for the council for 10 years, both as the rates manager, but more importantly as the ahu whenua Māori, in charge of all things to do with Māori land within Tauranga Council alongside Kieran and Medina and co. And so I swam or lived in this space for a while, and there's some big differences here and we need to be careful with them. The Māori landowner, that's a property right. And there's a lot of Māori landowners in Tauranga that aren't even from Tauranga, that's a Māori landowner. But I think the real distinctness here is when it's multiply owned Māori land as against hapu ownership. So when you're doing something that's impacting on the environment and you go and talk to the owners of the land, that's a property conversation. And to be fair, it's not that much different than a Pākehā ownership, apart from Māori will have different values and views, but there's a different conversation with the hapu. That's to do with the mana and the environment, and we need to be really careful because I've seen situations where council have made their problem, and I bring experience to the table that won't let that happen. Kia ora.
Okay, we've now got a new order up. Angie, what box number?
23, please.
Oh, good. Now, that's definitely a prime number, 23.
Card number R. R for Rev. Recent incidents highlight rangatahi and whānau not feeling safe in their own neighbourhoods. What will you do to ensure rangatahi feel safe in Tauranga Moana, especially public spaces?
Kia ora ngaro. And thank you for this question. I think it's really relevant for me to be answering this question tonight. I've just come from a 10-week-long trial around, a home invasion event that included more than 20 gang members. So I'm really acutely aware of the fear that people can have following, instances of unsafe practices and unsafe behaviour. I think one of the key things is to encourage our rangatahi to know who they are, to understand where they come from, and to build their strength within. So building their resilience is going to help them to make good choices, to be in good spaces, and to have good people around them. From a council view, in support of those initiatives, it is things like having the social, the safer communities types of groups that we can rely on and learn from and work with to help continually build the safe community around not only rangatahi but all of our community.
Okay, next up, George, what box number?
Yeah.
We got a button first from David.
Just I forgot what I was going to say. I believe we should have more input with the council. With the council. Ange was right. It's getting to know who we are and what we are, but brought back to the marae. A lot of our things should be actually brought back to the marae, especially our rangatahi, so they know who they are or who we are. With the cope up of Tauranga City Council and support, we're coming into an area where it's being intensified with multicultural visitors or manuhiri that don't understand who we are, and it's better that at least our rangatahi and our children that have been brought up in Tauranga, to me, they're all our children, we should be all going back through the schools to our maraes, learning who we are and whakapapa and who they are. That's the most important, giving them the identity. That way they know who they are. Well, at the moment, I can tell you, and that was the same with me. When I didn't know who I was just another no-hoper, as far as I was concerned. But when you find out who you are and who we are, there's nothing that can replace it, no matter who you are. Knowing who you are and where you come from, that's important. I believe we should be taking our children back to the marae.
Can I pass in before I ask?
Oh, yes, but you're using up all your cards.
Oh, then I don't have to make them anymore.
Go ahead, George.
I think if you actually have a look at rangatahi actually feeling safe, I mean, I was actually at a community here in Tauranga whereby it was probably more classified as a lower socio-economic community. And one of the things that I actually saw is, one, they didn't have a community park that was close by, so they had to make do with what they had in their own neighbourhood. And the other thing is that public transport was probably null and void, which means that from a council's perspective, and if there is a route for public transport, it's making sure that in our communities there is accessibility for rangatahi and whānau to be able to use a bus or engage or transport was available for them to use in and around their community. I think the other thing that we need to actually consider is rangatahi need to participate in a community that looks, feels and sounds like them. And sometimes we actually have kaumātua councillors that come in and determine what's best for them. give them the opportunity, whether it's via a youth council or a venue, a vehicle, to be able to do that. So that's my response.
Okay, now, box number. What box number are you picking?
25.
25. Oh, yes, that's a great age. I think that's when my insurance excess comes down on my car insurance.
Card number S. Rangatahi want to be a part of the workforce, but the opportunities are limited. How will you work or partner with local businesses and industries to create better employment and career pathways for rangatahi?
Look, we work with the Ministry of Social Development to support rangatahi to get into jobs. Maybe education is not something that they're very successful in. So I think as a council, we've got to put a strategy together to support rangatahi to do and be, and actually see an opportunity for them to succeed in and around Tauranga. I think participating with them and utilising rangatahi advocates, I suppose, within Tauranga City Council to extract the information and the support that they require is one thing that I would actually support as a councillor. Obviously, I'm only going to be one of many to vote on this, and it would be trying to actually engage with fellow councillors to support a kaupapa that would actually enable rangatahi to be seen and heard, and also to have a voice around the table. It's supporting the development of a youth-focused industries within Tauranga, where rangatahi jobs would actually be seen as a place to support them to get the job, to retain the job, and to actually excel in the job to get them into a management role. And it's also encouraging businesses, Māori and general businesses, to say, hey, if we want to actually utilise rangatahi and get rangatahi working, then provide spaces in the business to actually do so.
Okay. Next up, David, what box number?
Number 8.
Number 8. What's good about number 8?
My birthday.
Oh,
It's the most Chinese back 8. Asian cultures are in love with 8. It's abundance. Chinese love 8.
It's a good housing number. Card number 10. In October 2024, the Council made the decision to comply with the Director General of Health's directive to fluoridate Tauranga's water supply. Does this align with the principles of Te Tiriti or Waitangi?
No, it doesn't. Yeah. That's all I can say.
that's short, sharp and sweet. You've got 55 seconds to go.
I don't want to say anything else because it doesn't.
Okay, Hemi, what box number?
Number 1.
Number 1. Oh, yes. The first
Numero uno.
number to put on your voting paper when you're voting
Yes,
for candidates.
1 for Hemi.
Number 1 in your hearts here, Honoa. Card number X. If elected, how will you ensure that you are working to benefit all of Tauranga Moana and not just your ward?
Great party. Well, look, when you sit at a board, and I'm an experienced governor, being put there in a range of roles, and you're there for the greater good. That's paramount. We've got Rod here. He's the Te Papa ward member. Of course, he's going to be an advocate for Te Papa, but his decisions need to be for the benefit of all. But what we really need to do is ensure that those decisions are not just good for Māori, that they're good for Tauranga Moana, and they're good for iwi. So I will ensure that I'm out in the community, and I am a community person, whether it's out in the general community or in the Māori community. We've got to listen. And we're 1 of 10, so the decisions that I'll be making are collective decisions. And importantly, working together, as Mahi says, as a team of 10. But, you know, I fundamentally believe what is good for Tauranga Moana Māori is good for Tauranga Moana. We don't make decisions that aren't of a greater good. We are a collective people, and if we make collective decisions, Tauranga Moana will prosper.
And we have a button from Swarry.
If elected, I pledge 25% of the councillor's salary to go to the 3 iwi of Tauranga Moana to support wahine and governance training. So whether that's through the Directors Institute, whether that's through the community Aotearoa group, that's up to them. So in the stand and the fight to get wahine into governance, I would support that and just really see that as an investment in ensuring that wahine Māori understand they have a role and they can lead good developments in the city.
Okay. And, Sairo, what box number?
Ooh, 20. I would just like to discriminate against odd numbers. So if the other contestants could please leave the even ones, kia ora.
Well, before the 1975 general election, the voting age was 20.
Oh, see? There
Yeah,
you
I
go.
think it was 75. Yeah, it was 75 when it changed.
Still
Yeah.
20 on the other
Or
side.
in 1949, when my grandma, at 21, that was the first time she was allowed to vote. And she's still going around at 97 now.
Kia ora tātou. Card number J. What major project do you believe is essential for Tauranga City Council and what should be eliminated?
I think to add context to the question in terms of what should be eliminated, it's more beneficial to understand what should be reduced or what should be prioritised in the interest of the city. And so again, the council's decision is resource allocation and investments for the benefit of the whole city. And I think that is a conversation, obviously, that's guided by the various inputs from the council staff. And I wouldn't like to make a call on those things in case I got that wrong. So I'm not up to date enough to be able to make a call on what I would cut or what I would keep, but I would tell you that my process will be to look at what is there and what would benefit Māori better than other projects.
Okay, and we're due for another round, and I'm just trying to get a different set of orders so we're not starting with the same person. I'm getting a bit disappointed with random list. Okay, David.
Number 7.
Number 7.
Lucky number 7.
Yes, another prime number.
Card number C.
Which number? Which
C. C for Caribbean.
Oh, that's a different one from Charlie.
What is your utmost priority if elected?
Well, my most utmost priority if elected, is to keep campaigning for more Māori to stand for the next election. That's the most important. We only get one chance, and it's best that we've got a team of 5 here. The most important is to make sure we keep going. Kia ora.
Okay, we have a button from Soiree, followed by Angie.
Can I button, please, Sam?
Yeah, but Soiree button first.
So my utmost priority is to focus on raising Māori enrolments on the Māori roll. So it's really, really important that we make the gain while we can. Switch to the Māori roll, get your stuff there, get yourself organised, go to the marae and encourage other people who you know haven't voted. So we had a big Million Man March last year, this year. We need those Million Man Marches to Million Man March to the vote and register themselves to vote. That's what we need to do. That's my priority.
Okay, Angie.
Kia ora. Well, my priority is to bring us together as a people, mana whenua, tangata whenua, so utilising a kotahitanga approach so that I can hear the voice of our people. And then once I understand that voice, it's to build those opportunities to continue to come together. It's to understand the needs of our people through those opportunities and through listening. It's to develop plans to meet those needs that they are going to be sharing and to continue to build those enduring relationships. So kotahitanga is my plan.
Perfect. And just for those, a little bit of a reminder, yes, Tauranga will not be having a local body elections this year, but the regional council still will be. So it's still equally important in October to get out and vote as well. Just remember, just because the city council ain't there, don't make sure you still focus on the regional council. considering I don't think they actually get given much scrutiny myself. Hemi, what box number?
Number 10. Number 10.
10. Card number M. How will you ensure your single voice is a strong and influential voice at the decision-making table?
Have we got the right question after?
Card number M.
Oh, M for Mike? Okay.
M for Mike.
Sorry.
I'll say that again. I'll do the question again. Yeah. How will you ensure your single voice is a strong and influential voice at the decision-making table?
Great partai. Let me start that partai with my favourite saying, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. For too long, Māori haven't been at the table, and then the people around the table are deciding what's on the menu for Māori. So we need to be at that table. But my second part of that saying is, when you get to the table, don't just go there and eat the kai. You need to go there and make impact, because sometimes we make a lot of noise and say we need to be at that table, and then we don't actually have impact. So I have the experience in going into mainstream organisations and making an impact, whether at the board table or the executive table, where it's a predominantly Pākehā group. But the thing that you need to do is build relationships. Auntie Maria's famous saying, business is not about relationships, it's all about relationships. We need to build relationships with those people around the table so that they see our worldview, we see theirs, and together we plan a good future. So you've got to be doing the hard yards and making relationships around the table.
Okay, next up, Angie. What box number?
Box 15, please.
15. Ah, yes. The who got their driver's license here at 15? Put your hand up. And audience as well. I mean, I'm one of these lucky ones in that boat. Thanks for picking that number, Angie. We get to find out who got their license as soon as they could.
Who got their license after 15, but they were driving anyway? Card number H. What is your stance on Te Tiriti?
I'm standing to uphold Te Tiriti. That is my campaign. That's the basis of my campaign. Te Tiriti I honour as our founding document. In particular, it's the principles that grab me. I think they are useful and important for everything we do. Partnership protection and participation are going to be crucial and have been crucial, are currently crucial, and will continue to be, whether our government do something with Te Tiriti or not. So my stance is Te Tiriti is here to stay. It's important. It is the reason we are all here. And I stand to uphold all of those principles.
Okay, George, what box number?
Number 12, thank you.
Card number W. If elected, who do you believe you represent, and how do you plan to maintain a clear vision of sight?
Well, it's very clear that the representation for me would be as a elected member for Te Awanui is the engaging with Māori and Māori constituents. They're the ones that actually voted me in, so certainly my response would be to support them as best as I can. To do that, it's about having regular hui with them and creating a vehicle for them to engage appropriately with myself. And then also advocate on behalf of Tauranga City as well. But the thing that I would want to actually do is work alongside iwi and hapu to ensure that their voice is also supported as an elected councillor, and then to actually provide them with the support to have them around the table as well as voting members. And the last one would actually be to stay focused on the priorities that I've been given by the constituents to advocate for around the table. So that's probably the key three things for me for this question.
Thank you for that. Okay, off for it. We'll do our last round of box questions. Hemi, you get to go up first. And if you've got any buttons now, this is the round to use them in, because we're going to get to hard-hitting questions afterwards.
Oh, well, I might take that unlucky 13, eh?
Nah,
No one wanted to touch it.
Lucky number.
At least we're not in the building that has the 13th floor.
Card number N for November. How do you plan to address housing and affordability for the Māori community?
Oh, he pātai pai. So this is right up my alley. Look, first and foremost, let me tell you some statistics. I don't know if it's changed, but in 2022, Tauranga as a city was the 5th least affordable city in the world. Tauranga is also the least affordable city in the country because of the $1 million cost of housing. So yes, you go up to Papamoa and you see all the development, you go into the lakes and you see all the development, you go into our Māori communities and you see bugger all. So we need to find, I listened to the Tangata Whenua Collective yesterday, and the independent chair, Anthony Fisher, said we need a circuit breaker. Tauranga Council can't do it on our own, but we can go out and look at what people like Willie Te Aho are doing around the country, changing the face, talking to government, getting access to putia, talking to land trusts to make a difference, and council changing some of their policies because the impact fees on our houses are just drastic. We're in a crisis whānau, we've got a cost of living crisis, and every figure for Māori in terms of income and the census has confirmed that we're at the wrong end. So we need some circuit breakers. It's not easy, but we really need to get together to make that impact.
Okay, next up, George, what box number?
16.
16. The current age to get driver's license. Just for those who need a reminder. And I believe some people want to lower the voting age too.
Voting age to 16.
Some people, some young people want that to happen.
Goodbye. Card number D. What is your history in representing Māori interests in Tauranga Moana?
Look, I suppose for me, it's been probably more. Oh, sorry, it's been probably more as an advocate from a health perspective. We during COVID were the provision or provided support around masks and things that, one, we got access to it from Auckland, but two, we were able to actually distribute our excess supports down here to Tauranga Moana. On a more recent level, through our acquisition of a radio frequency that is more focused on community radio, the station that we actually have gives the opportunity to speak more to our Pākehā constituents around information and advocacy for Māori, and doing it in te reo that they are familiar with, which I think is actually quite key, because te reo Māori radio stations are key for us to engage with our own people, but the ones that we need to gather further support for are those that are non-Māori reo speakers, to inform them about what we stand for. So those are the two things that come to mind. The other is obviously being a trustee of land in and around the community.
Okay, next up, Soare. We've got a button from Hemi.
So this is an opportunity to humbly show off my CV. Look, I've been a claimant for the Tauranga Moana Ngaiterangi contemporary claims, and I've done an extensive report alongside Jolene Patua on the rating of Māori land and the impacts where the cost and the benefits should lie, because we provide all our own reserves, urupara most of our community facilities, yet we're paying for everybody else's. So I've been a claimant. I've been the CEO of Te Awanui Hokapak with our iwi trusts and incorporations, making global and local impact on the stage with Zespri. I've taken 55 of our growers over there to experience the world of growing in Japan, and as a result of that, a lot of people have come back and co-invested more in the kiwi fruit. Jobs come as a result of that. I sit on a number of Māori trusts and incorporations, Nai Tukairangi, Ngā Manawa Incorporation, where we're making an impact, and I've taken rangatahi over to Stanford and Silicon Valley alongside Tauranga Moana to see the world, to see where that impact really is. And I've also taken our kaumātua over to Rarotonga, because they sit on the pie, do all the work for nothing, and given them rest. So I live and breathe and work in this space, and today I was celebrating with our Ngā Mokopuna. And Mokopuna decision is the 40th anniversary of our Matapihi Koanga-reo. Kia ora.
Okay, Soare, what box number?
Box number 4, please.
Card number F. F for Freddie.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, kia ora. How do you propose to positively promote Te Awanui Ward as a positive move for Tauranga Moana to those who stand strongly against it?
I think essentially proving credibility in the role and how you represent the seat and the way that you support partnerships around the table. So you join a table of 10, being complementary and working in a complementary way, but also having enough, holding enough will to speak truth to power around what the needs and interests are for Māori and how they can be best served by the other 9. So specifically, you're there to represent the interests of Māori, and you'd need to do that in a way that encourages the other 9 councillors to come along and get on board. So there are some real horror stories in Tauranga where the water runs past the marae, didn't come to the marae, where the sewage treatment goes past the marae and then dips around the corner, but the marae isn't on that. That is specifically the outcome of someone not at the table backing your interests. I'm assertive to a point of sometimes being uncomfortable, but I'm also honest and able to work in a positive way with others.
Okay. Angie, what
When
box?
I want to.
What box number?
Box number 9, please.
V, card number V for Vendetta. If you've seen the movie. In your own words, what is the purpose of the Māori seat and is it really required?
I'm looking forward to this answer.
You got it.
So Māori wards, they provide one way for Māori to have a voice and be represented in local government, decision making, and it's similar to dedicated electoral seats in Parliament. Successful Māori ward candidates become councillors and have a particular responsibility to represent people of Māori descent and to bring forward their views and aspirations. However, they also represent the entire community. So with that in mind, in my own words, the purpose of the seat is to bring the voice of Māori, but it is really required because that voice is currently not there. And that really is the key of the seat. Kia ora.
Yeah, can I chuck my button?
Yeah, chuck in a button because this will be your last chance.
Oh. I believe we should have had that Māori seat a long time ago. As tangata whenua and whenua Māori, it's a slap in the face. We aren't even at the table. And we're sitting here tonight talking about this. But that's all I want to say, guys. We should have been there a long time ago. Kia ora.
Okay, and David, you get the last box for the question box round tonight. What box number?
Number 21, Martin.
Oh yes, the voting age in 1949 when my grandma voted for the first time, and also the first year that Wahine Māori got elected into Parliament of Iriraki Raitana.
Gee.
That's all right.
just
The one
total
that
that.
everyone remembers is Whetau Turakati Sullivan. But you know, I mean, hey, one was a minister, one was just an MP.
Kapai, card number Y. What is your strategic vision for Tauranga City? For example, what will the city look like in 10 to 15 years' time?
Not being rude to our mate over there, but in 10 or 15 years' time, I want to see 10 Māori sitting around that table, to be quite honest. Well, the more Māori, the more people we are. It's sharing our culture with our manuhiri, I call them. I don't like saying the word pāhia. That's what I'd like to see. It's all Māori, and giving our culture and giving our Pākehā friends, our manuhiri, a sense of being Māori themselves. Because I know a lot of Europeans or Pākehā, they love us. They love to be Māori. And I believe that's our job, is to respect their wishes also. Okay, kia ora.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, we're going to take it was meant to be 10, but we're going to do a 5-minute break because we started late. So we will see all of our candidates and our audience, both online and in studio, back in 5 minutes' time, ready for hard-hitting questions.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you're subscribed to our Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok, News Guide, The Order Paper Podcast. YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok, News Guide, The Order Paper Podcast. It's the Order Paper Podcast. On Wednesday, 12th March, after 2 hours of debate in New Zealand, Parliament votes 63 to 60 to make it a criminal offense to steal wages from your staff, just like a staff member stealing from the till. But without it road, those that didn't want it claimed the sky would fall in. Katie said it would clog the courts. Carl said it would become a bureaucratic nightmare. Laura said we already have the appropriate measures in place. Vanessa claimed it would be hard to determine men's read. Vanessa also bring up it's gonna be harder shifting from probable cause to beyond a reasonable doubt. Dan doesn't think it's needed because it will not make our community safer. Grant doesn't want it because he doesn't want to have a police officer knocking on his door because Mrs. McCullum forgot to hit pay now when doing the wages. Katie doesn't want thieving employees to suffer reputation damage, stopping them from exploiting employees in the future. But stealing from your staff members' pay packets is now illegal, just like stealing from the bosses to wage theft. No more, thanks to Camilla and Ibrahim for bringing a crime theft by employer amendment bill. Tiano supporting the bill because an honest day's work deserves a fair day pay. Mark proud to cast New Zealand first swing vote to the bill. Takura say this law united us under one law for all. Ricardo plotting that it's common sense to have wage theft as a criminal offense. Ginny pointing out wage theft is a constant, persistent problem in New Zealand. And Phil said this will be the perfect bill for a civic education such as the Order Paper Podcast. And stealing from his staff members' pay packets is now illegal, just like stealing from the bosses to wage theft. No more, thanks to Camilla and Ibrahim for bringing the crime theft by employer amendment bill to the House. And on Thursday, 13th March, the crime theft by employer amendment bill received its royal assent. Thanks for watching. Make sure you're subscribed to our Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok, News Guide, The Order Paper Podcast. YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok, News Guide, The Order Paper Podcast. Paper Podcast. Thanks for watching. Make sure you're subscribed to our Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok, News Guide, the Order Paper Podcast. YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok, News Guide, the Order Paper Podcast. It's the Order Paper Podcast. On Wednesday, 12th March, after 2 hours of debate in New Zealand, Parliament votes 63 to 60 to make it a criminal offence to steal wages from your staff, just like a staff member stealing from the till. But without a road, those that didn't want it claimed the sky would fall in. Katie said it would.
Unmute me, please. Oh, good. Okay, I've heard that come through the record. Okay, so let's get ready for hard-hitting questions. I guess now. It's all right. Congratulations. You get to see both the old hard-hitting questions one that got played second and the new hard-hitting question music that doesn't have a copyright breach in it. Or, no, should we just say losing advertising revenue? Because we're trying to sit there and get into advertising revenue. And this is more of an in-house conversation than an audience conversation. So, hard-hitting questions here are the questions that are most important that we have to get answers from all the candidates. Now, just remind the candidates, you can't use the new button cards because everyone's answering them. And you can't use the defer cards because everyone's answering them. So, just to get that going through on there. But let's kick off with hard-hitting question number one. Hard-hitting question number one. Yes. How will you ensure that you fairly represent the voice of all hapu, iwi, and marae without letting your own affiliations create bias? And let's kick off with David first.
That's going to be a hard one because I affiliate to the whole lot. I got to be honest. I believe, I'm not racialist.
I won't call it racist, might be biased to your particular own iwi.
You say represent all hapu iwi
Yeah.
and marae. No, I've got no answer for that, but to be quite honest.
Okay, George.
Hold on.
How will you ensure that you fairly represent the voices of all hapu, iwi, and marae without letting your own bias affiliations create? Your own affiliation create any bias?
Look, it's hard representing Māori because everybody wants you to sort of speak on their behalf. I suppose for me, it's taking everyone's requests to the table appropriately, being able to present it at the table and being able to support it and engage with the fellow councillors around the table to say why they should be supporting the kaupapa for each whānau, hapu and marae. I think if we actually look at it from representing everybody that comes from whānau, hapu and marae, you won't actually get in trouble. So it's just taking all that information to the table and doing your best to represent them.
Okay, Hemi.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think we need to drill right down to the fact that this is a Māori seat, not a hapu and iwi seat. So in fairness, you're representing all Māori, but as we said, and sorry for using you as another example, Rod, you represent the papa and then you represent the city. So you represent all Māori. Yes, if some of these people sitting around here have strong affiliations to certain hapu and iwi, and that's why you have a conflict and a declaration, but you ensure that you're transparent and you're authentic and you have integrity, because you'll always be challenged, didn't you do this for yours? But that's the way we operate. If we are really transparent on what we do and make decisions collectively and remembering you're only one voice. So I actually think some of the pulse will be sitting around the table, much like I'd be saying to Rod and saying, take your te papa hat off and look at for the collective. Someone might be able to sit and say to me, take your hapu hat off and look at the collective. But if we're open, transparent and we have integrity, then we'll make decisions without any bias.
Perfect. Angie.
Kia ora. The way that I will ensure, that I fairly represent everyone is, in the first instance, I understand governance, and my key role there is to bring an open mind. So with my open mind on the matter, my next key role is to ensure that I make decisions in the best interests of everyone. And so that's how I will approach it, regardless of my affiliations. Being affiliated doesn't mean you always support what your people want, but ultimately I'm bringing the key tenets of governance to the table to ensure that everyone's interests are being considered.
Okay. Swara.
This is a great question for me, and I've thought about it in detail. So my policy platform within my campaign rests around the concepts of whenua, whakapapa, and why. So whenua is obviously anything in the land and the transport space. Why is about the water, so that's what councils do too. And then whakapapa is about culture and heritage. So in terms of a process, and to answer the question, so it would be based on whakapapa or the site. So wherever the issue was, I would directly engage with the hapu. Well, I wouldn't, but I would ensure that the primacy is given to the resident hapu of that area, and then other voices were folded in. I disagree with the collapsing of all the hapu into the concept of all hapu. So when it comes to hapu discussions and decisions, there is an existing order based on whakapapa to that area that should determine the engagement. I would steward that process alongside the other 9 councillors and ensure that the staff of the council act appropriately or accordingly to that. Kia ora.
Thank you for that. Now, let's kick off with hard-hitting question number 2. What is your history in representing Māori interests in Tauranga Moana, or what successful outcomes have you contributed to for the people of Tauranga Moana? Swari.
I made a distinction in this question, in the top question around Māori interest, as to whether you were talking about what Māori are interested in as a people. So I support kapahaka, I support initiatives and fundraisers that go on, because if I can't give time, I will donate money and support those things, but my primary vehicle for supporting Māori interests has been to stand in local elections. So I returned 8 years ago to raise a mokopuna, help a mokopuna, and since then I have stood in every local election. I was the first Māori to stand for a mayor in the Western Bay of Plenty, and I will continue to stand until the wahine line on all local governments are at least 3-4 deep. That's how I've helped Māori interests in Tauranga Moana.
David.
Well, the only thing I've done so far, I've got to be honest, is implemented our people for Māori inclusion in the mental health area. Well, Ministry of Health have advocated that when our people sit through the court system, that's where they must have Māori representation sitting beside them. Ministry of Health and the court have acknowledged all that. That's all I'm good at, guys. Kia ora.
Okay, next up, Hemi.
Yeah, I've covered a lot of this, so I'm going to add and I have been the chairman of the Tauranga Moana Tangata Whenua Collective, now known as Te Rangapu, and I've sat at the council table as a member of the Tauranga Moana Standing Committee alongside council, and I've sat on the Smart Growth Collective Committee as a mana whenua representative, and I've sat in a number of other interests representing Tauranga Moana. I've sat on a CCO. It's a council-controlled organisation as a representing interests of Tauranga Moana. That was Tauranga City Aquatics Limited. So I've had extensive experience representing Tauranga Moana. The outcomes are quite a few. This morning I was at a hui talking about the Māori blueberry orchard on Matakana, at Matapihi, having that hui. And so I was right at the beginning when we developed that. That's creating use of our land on Matakana, that's creating jobs for our people, and that's creating a collective together to do things. And the collective that I was instrumental in or leading Te Awanui Hokapak has created a number of outcomes for our people. While I'm talking about outcomes for our people, most of you will know that I led a hikoi up or a fundraiser up Mawo for Mikaere that raised nearly 40 grand. That not only got putia for Mikaere's whānau, but it got our people active and it got our people back to our maunga. 4 years earlier, I did the same for Innocence Henry, one of our sick whānau from Matapihi. So I bring outcomes, I bring people together that contributes to Tauranga Moana.
Thank you for that. Angie.
Kia ora. I do have a history in representing Māori interests. I would say it begins in the 80s and 90s, where I participated actively in formulating our Raupatu plan for Ngāti He. Through to the 2000s, I was crucial and integral in developing the foundation stages of the Ngaitirangi education strategy. Moving on from there, I have contributed to all of the schools of Tauranga Moana and their strategic development, their strategic planning, their governance role. Moving into disabilities and the area of health, I currently contribute and have always contributed to the sector through lived experience in my whānau and now in the governance role, so I'm giving back to the areas that have contributed to my life. In terms of successful outcomes, the development of those strategies in education are still in play and very much alive and very much achieving and continue to achieve good outcomes for rangatahi, in particular in Mount College. But overall, my outcomes really come down to me being on the ground. I contribute in every way I can. I'll pick up a tea towel, I'll go to a boardroom, and I'll do everything in between. It's what I do, it's what I've done, and it's what I continue to do, regardless of the hat I wear and the role I might be in. Kia ora.
Oh, thank you. Okay, George.
Look, it's really interesting when you're brought up on different sides of your whānau. Ngāti Awa is where I was actually born and bred. And so therefore, I always actually lived there, yet my grandfather's actually from Motiti Island. And so therefore, we always actually came this way to Motiti and obviously to Tauranga, as the Matahaere family are quite active within this rohe. I've always actually supported marae, whether it's actually been around the 8 here in Tauranga Moana, whether it's actually been via health services and the delivery of health support services across the city, and also within broadcasting and allowing us to actually have a voice that engages with the tangata tiriti community. So I suppose what I can bring to this community is the experience of one, business, of governance, and of community planning experience with different councils that I've worked with over the various years. So I'm looking forward to actually being able to bring that skill back to Tauranga and utilising it in this position should I be elected.
Okay, thank you, candidates, for that. Now, let's get on to hard-hitting questions number 3. What will you do to ensure your influence the decisions made at the decision-making table? Okay, and Hemi, you get to start off first.
There's a number of things I'll do, but first and foremost, work hard. There's a lot of work to done, so you've got to earn the respect of those around the table. And as we've said, it's a team of 10. So they need to respect you, but you need to have done your work. You need to know what you're talking about, and you need those other 9 to go, yes, this person is bringing the skills, the commitment to the table to make good decisions. I spoke about it earlier. I will build relationships and build respect, because you're only one voice. And the saying that I said keeps going. You need to be a strong voice, a committed voice. And what I will bring is, and something I probably should have said earlier, Māori are used to starting from behind. We talk around this equity one and we're always starting from behind the start line. We're doing it again. Unfortunate circumstances this time. But I will make sure that I start running, because you need somebody that's going to pick it up. We don't have a year. We don't have a long time. So, but, fundamentally, I'll ensure I work hard and basically earn the mana of those people that put you there.
Okay, Swaro.
My response to this question is I intend to count it. So I intend to count it and then qualify whether the actions of the council, 9 plus this one, are made in the interest of Waiariki constituents. So each motion, each area that we approach, I'll be looking to count. So I'm going in with my professional head on as an evaluator. I'll be determining what high quality engagement looks like for a council, and then I'll be measuring the metrics on that, and then also being able to measure how well the outcomes were delivered for the particular population, which in my case, as the Te Awanui Ward rep, would be the Waiariki voter. So I intend to count it, Whānau. I intend to count the good decisions that this council makes for, with, and alongside myself and the other 9.
George.
I think for me it's quite clear. 1, you're going to be one voice of 10. And 2, you've got to actually advocate for the people that you actually represent. But 3, you've got to actually build good relationships, because unless you have the votes, which is 5 plus 1, then nothing you actually bring to the table that represents your constituency is going to pass. And so it's building relationships, ensuring that my colleagues, Pākehā, are actually comfortable with the decisions they're going to be making that's going to support our constituents that have elected us to represent. 2, it's also actually making sure that all Māori voices are going to be heard around the table. And 3, it's going to be making sure that Tauranga is going to actually benefit from me sitting around the table. I think if it's good for Māori, it's good for Tauranga. And that's going to be the view that I'll bring to the table over the next 18 months.
Okay, David.
Well, I suppose the most important to me was getting the skill sets of those other 9 at the table first, seeing what specialities each and every one of those members around their table have, before I can actually dig in and influence decisions at the table. First and foremost for me is I've got to know each and every one of my members' skill set, before I actually prepare the kōrero. That's the most important. That way I'll be able to know what's happening then and how to progress the decisions we have before I even open my mouth. Yeah.
Okay.
Kia ora, bud.
Angie.
Kia ora. What I will do to ensure that I influence the decisions at the table is I'll be prepared. I'll seek to understand the information in front of me. I will then seek to know the voice of our people so that I can, utilise what's available to me to influence the decisions, all based on the voice of our people. But I think the key aspect here for me is to be prepared and to be able to communicate that so that I can understand from my constituents what they want. With that, go in and influence through all of the mechanisms of governance, in particular through relationships. So I already have relationships with all of the councillors. I've built those over time myself, and I just continue to respect those and continue to build on those.
Okay, thank you for that. Now, we seem to be, for starting off being behind, we're now running ahead of schedule. We're doing quite good on that one. So let's kick off with closing statements on why the voter for the Te Awanui Ward should give you their number one vote, and we'll start off with Sware. Who, I don't know if that was convenient of the random list order generator.
Okay, love it. You should give me your number one vote because you support wahine into governance and you understand that we can play and contribute to the decisions that are made in the city. You should give me your number one vote because I am not in the job, I'm not in the race for the money. I'm in it for the mahi and I can do the mahi. You should give me your number one vote because it's important to pick someone who will represent and do the work that needs to be done, who's assertive and honest, but also can handle managing relationships. Let's be honest, it's Tauranga City whānau. We're in for the fight. We're in for the fight of our lives. We're in for the fight to get our whānau enrolled to vote, and we need to win this fight. We go to a referendum in December. We are tenuously holding the seat, and I would like to be the person in that seat to hold it for us. Thank you.
Okay. David.
Well, you should vote for me because I'm a Māori. That's the most important. But at the end of the day, guys, I'll be honest, when it comes to sitting down and talking with the chiefs, that's my best speciality. When it comes to talking, I'm not very good. It's what I write on pieces of paper that count for me. Kia ora, but.
Okay, Angie.
Kia ora. I humbly ask you to consider giving me your vote. I'm ready. I've been preparing myself for a long time beyond the initial election. I made a commitment that I would continue to drive into governance and reach the heights that I can. I've been on that journey now for the last 7 years, and on that journey I've picked up huge skill and ability to work in this space. Not only that, I'm currently in council. I've got current relationships, I've got current knowledge of what's happening across all of council, and I have relationships in all of those spaces. And in addition to that, I come from a long line of tupuna who fought for our people, who fought to keep the land that we stand on. And I'm honouring that tradition and intent. So I am ready, I am willing, and I am able, and actually I am the right person for this role.
Okay. Hemi.
Oh, kia ora whānau. I better stand up for this last one. So I'm standing on 4 C's. I'm standing on capacity. I have the time and the energy, and I'm excited to be able to offer myself for this role because you need to be able to have the capacity to do it. Secondly, I'm standing on community. I'm connected to this community at all levels, and not just in the Māori level. I've sat at some of the biggest boardrooms in the commercial space around the space and around the country, and so I bring that community connection both on the ground and around the boardroom. So connection is really important into the community. The third C that I bring is capability. My CV will show that I have extensive experience in a governor, and this is a governor's role. This is important that we stress that this is a governor role and you need experience. Just this week coming, I'm doing the Advanced Directors course in Auckland to show that I'm at the top level of governance, and I will continue to learn, and my CV will show that I've studied and I've worked hard. So I have the capability, and the fourth C is commitment. I give you my commitment, whānau, that when I lean in, and those that know me will know when Hemi leans in, he goes for it, he gives you 100%, and he's committed, and his track record will show a commitment of getting shit done and making a positive impact. And I implore you to go out and talk to anyone that's worked for me, alongside me, who I've worked with, or sat at the table, and ask what impact I've made. So whānau, we've got to vote, we've got to make an impact. First and foremost, get on the roll. Second, vote. 3, vote strategic. Don't vote for me because I'm your relation. That's helpful, but importantly, vote for me because I have the skills to not let Tauranga Moana down. Number 1. And if you are going to vote for your whānau, give me number 2. Kia ora tātou.
Okay, George.
Kia ora everyone, I'm George Ngātai. I stand here as the Te Awanui Ward candidate for Tauranga City Council, and I bring with me experience for the past 30 years in council planning, community leadership, and delivering essential services. I understand the importance of collaboration, of transparency, and making decisions that reflect the needs of our community. I believe Tauranga is has incredible potential by supporting sustainable growth, investing in community well-being, and strengthening partnership with our own tangata whenua. We can build a city that's inclusive, resilient, and vibrant for our whānau and our tamariki and our mokopuna. I need your vote. That's number 1. I will work tirelessly to get your vote and represent you, and ensuring your voices are heard around the Tauranga City Council table. Together, we can make a positive difference for Te Awanui and all of Tauranga. Kia ora no tātou.
And thank you for that, for candidates for the closing statements. Now, just a little bit of housekeeping, because I've been called out for disappointing from Robert Coe. I would like to set the record straight. You're disappointed your questions did not appear on the show, but your questions were in the question sheets in there. One of the questions did appear on the show, but both questions were reworded to work better, which is what happens in that form is we do reserve the right to reword them into better questions, which the question that did get picked out of the box that was in the show was question T, which was do with fluoride in there, and does that align with the principles of the Te Reti of Waitangi. So I'm sorry that you're disappointed that I kept my word, but hey, just like to sit and point that out there, because I don't like being called a liar when it happens. So that's just something I'd like to make clear on there. If you want to call me out and tag me personally on Facebook on that, I'm going to respond to it as you've dragged it into the live section. We're now live. I'm responding to it, and I've kept my word, and I'm proud I've kept my word over that. You know, it's a shame the other question did. I don't think the other question came out of the box, but I'm not sure which is you, which was question you, which is in there. Okay. So while we've got back to my little calling out people, let's get back to the fun part of thanking the people for making this show happen. I'd like to thank Nick, who's on the editor desk in the studio, Brody, who is behind the cameras, who's here for making it happen, Stacey, who is doing the remote editing from Wellington. Thank you for being part of tonight's show. Thank you for Nairo for being my question host. And thank you to Tony for helping arrange this venue again. And it's absolutely love working with the people up here and really enjoy it. Just for those who are wanting to know, we are a small funded organisation, so feel free to drop off into our Give a Little page to help make 2025 local bodies a bit of a success. We're looking at getting, I think it's about 110 2-hour shows. It's going to be quite a bit of a trek over a 7-week period. We have had to drop one council, but that council, we've decided it wasn't actually going to benefit the voters for that particular one in week 8. So there, if you're in the studio here, for the audience, thank you for participating. And yeah, if you want to, I did bring my business as EFTPOS machine if you'd like to help. And I'd also like to thank our broadcasting partners, Paul, the other one, and also the BFG podcast for also broadcasting the show across the many different platforms that helps get our word out to more voters. And for those who are watching, feel free to subscribe to all of our channels on YouTube. We are, 81 subscribers away from getting YouTube partnership, which means we can earn some money from some ad revenue and the viewers can start putting in super chats. So yeah, candidates, thank you for coming. Great meeting, a great bunch of people. Thank you for working with us with the late start. One of the things that happened tonight was we had a critical hardware issue of our signal boosters that allow our cameras to talk to the computer. They were left in Wellington, so I had to go to Bunnings and bought them. And can I thank Bunnings Mount Maunganui for being open, for making sure this show is a success tonight, even though they are an Australian company. But sometimes it's just you've got to do with what tools you've got to get. So for those who also follow us on our normal Sunday program, the Autopaper Podcast, we will be doing another marathon episode this Sunday on the Gene Technology Bill, and we will be working out what sort of show that we're going to be doing. Apparently, the House went into urgency this week again. So we're going to have to try and trawl through to find out what interesting piece of legislation is to bring you for our 8 and 9 p.m. hours. Thank you for watching. Let's give a big round of applause to our candidates and our team. And we will see you all back for the Answer the Ballot one for Local Bodies 2025, and for the Autopaper Podcast, we'll see you back on Sunday. Have a good evening.